Hi, everybody. Welcome to Better Than Never. Shit.
I'm not actually inside a women's prison at the moment.
The horniness just went up to like 11.
Good afternoon.
At least say a big f*** you to Nick.
Tyler Yaremchuk must go to Cinco de Mayo.
Ty, why won't you kiss me?
Better late than never with bagged milk. Better late than never with bagged milk.
It's better late than never.
Better late than never.
Better late than never. Fight me if you don't agree.
Long live Arby's. I'm back from Dallas. I'm here. I'm ready. Let's record a podcast. Though I am saying off the jump with peace and love. I'm telling you this with peace and love. This will be a two-parter this week. There's a couple of things. I'm looking at my soundboard. I'm looking at the voicemails, and you little tricksters have been busy. A lot of voicemails to get through, so that's going to take me an hour, probably. So rather than make this super long, I'm just going to do two. And you'll get the first half today. You'll get the voicemail episode tomorrow. And then we'll do a little preamble because I, along with my guy Tyler Yaremchuk, will be going to the Oilers game tonight. It is time for Game 4. I'm excited. I am excited. So there's a couple of reasons why. So I'm going to start off by shouting out the audio department, of course, as I always do. The audio department, proud partner of Better Late Than Never. And more importantly, the audio department works to create a safe space for creativity and collaboration for artists and musicians to realize their potential and share their message through sound and story. The audio department.ca. Going to start off with a trip, a recap from just a little recap from our trip to Dallas. We got back later than expected, but for the most part, it was a great trip. Having been in LA for round one, having been in Vancouver for round two, I wasn't expecting, or I didn't know what to expect when it came to interacting with Stars fans. I had no idea. If you listened to last week's episode, you would have heard me kind of go, well, the only real fan in Dallas I know is the fucking Bang guy. Thankfully, he was sitting on the other end of the ice for me. I never had to look at him. So that was really, really nice. But I really didn't know what to expect. So when we finally arrived after taking the red eye, we left Wednesday night. Our flight was actually at 12:45 a.m., so essentially 1 a.m. We got down to Dallas, very little sleep. I have a hard time sleeping on planes. This is the biggest first world problem of all time, so I'm not trying to complain here, but I just have a hard time sleeping on planes. So by the time we got down there, I had probably slept for a couple hours, maybe 3 hours. We went from Edmonton to... Where did we go? Edmonton to Atlanta, Atlanta to Dallas. That was the first run. So, easy layover, Atlanta, massive airport. Didn't see Ludacris once, though. Kind of bullshit. Luda. But little sleep, we get there running on fumes. We kind of check into the hotel. We record Oilers Nation every day. We kind of do our thing. And we're like, okay, quick nap. We have about 2.5 hours until the game. Let's sleep for 30 minutes. Next thing you know, 90 minutes later, Jay's waking me up like, it's almost time to go. Let's go pregame. I'm like, bro, what time is it? What day? Where are we? And it was one of those days where it's just like, okay, let's run on fumes. Let's go. Oilers obviously won game one in double overtime. It was fantastic. But going back to the Dallas Stars fans, as soon as we walked up to the American Airlines Arena, which looks like a museum, by the way, on the inside, like if you've been to Vegas and you've walked around the casinos and you're in the hallways with the funny colored carpet, well, they don't have the funny colored carpet, but the walls, they all look the same. They're nicely finished. It was a weird arena. It was cool though. It was a weird place to be. But as we walked up, the first thing that kind of stuck out to us was nobody was yelling at us. Nobody was saying anything. We went into a bar right outside the arena to have a quick drink. We met up with Banjo Guy. Banjo Guy was nice enough to save us a table, though we did tell him we were going to get there earlier than we did. Like I said, a 30-minute nap turned into a 90-minute nap, and we almost slept through our date night with Banjo Guy. So we get down there, and immediately people are taking pictures with Banjo Guy. That's one of the first things I noticed, but that's not abnormal. Everywhere I've ever seen that dude, that cat's always taking pictures with people every 15 steps. It's just, that's what he does. So that was not abnormal. We were all decked out in our Oilers jerseys, and we go into this little bar outside of the arena, and the first thing that kind of pops up was, very nice people with a southern drawl come up to be like, you boys fly down here from just for the hockey game. And yeah, we did. We came down. We loved the Oilers. We're here to watch them. Oh, boys, that's fantastic. The amount of people that offered to buy us drinks or just offered a conversation or just said, hey, good luck. We're happy to have you. Hope you enjoyed Dallas. Do you need to do anything? Do you need any tips on what to do? I couldn't count on two hands how many times that happened. It was mind-blowing how nice people from Dallas were. That is the most important thing I want to say. 2, what we did end up doing in our off day was we went for a tour of Cowboy Stadium. Again, I don't give a shit about football. If you know me, you know that. So I was just kind of going through the motions, being like, man, this place is huge. But what I did notice is the attention to detail they put into that place is something that I've never seen before. You know, it was just completely mind-blowing. The attention to detail, obviously how big it is. We went into the Dallas Cowboys locker room. Super cool. Felt bad for the practice squad. They're stuck in the back of the room around a corner behind a wall. Thought it was kind of funny. I was hoping that I could go in there and take a pish. Maybe turn on the showers in the bathroom. But unfortunately, that was the only place of the locker room we were not allowed to go. We also went into the cheerleaders' locker room. I found potential future wives up on the wall. People who would take half our stuff. You know, don't tell me, missus. But it was a good time. Right? So then we had a great time in Dallas doing that kind of stuff as well. And it was neat. It was going to Cowboy Stadium, turned out to be way neater than we thought. Normally, if you go on the tour we were on, they let you down on the field and take an attempt to kick a field goal. So I thought I had a good 45-yarder in my leg. Unfortunately, they are ripping up all of the, what would you call that? It's not real grass, the turf, for some kind of international soccer match in preparation of the World Cup. Makes sense. That building is beautiful. Makes sense that they would do it for the World Cup. The better story, though, so that was one thing. If you're a football fan, it was cool. The better story, though, was the next day before game 2. We met a Stars fan at Hooters after game 1. Yes, we went to Hooters. It was one of the only things we knew was open. Turns out we missed a whole district just a block over. Are we dumb? Yes. Did we know? No. Are we dumb? I repeat, yes. The answer, very, very yes. So we thought legitimately that Hooters was the only little pub open around the arena after game 1. So we went in there, we met a couple of Dallas Stars fans, and one guy goes, hey boys, if you're looking for something to do tomorrow, you should go bet on the ponies. And if you know me and Jay at all, and Tyler to that extent, or if you remember when we went to Vegas for round 2 last year, we love betting on ponies. So immediately we were in. So ahead of game 2, we got Oilers Nation every day done. I knocked out the travel diaries. I knocked out the GDB. Just getting the work done and getting everything needed to be done. Then we went to the ponies in our Oilers jerseys. And as we went out to bet on the ponies, a boy that was very, very small. He was a man. He was an adult, but I'm calling him a boy. He was a very small boy. I'm going to guess probably just over 5 feet tall. He starts chirping at us from way up top in like kind of, they were, I don't know what they would call them, like suites or something, I suppose. Because we were down on the ground level, baby. I want to watch them horses run. We were down there and he's yelling at us. Go back to Canada, just normal shit, like whatever. It was all fine. And then Go Stars Go chants started because, again, we're all wearing our jerseys. As this continued, 1 race, 2 race, whatever, eventually a nice man from Oklahoma walked over and he goes, boys, what's going on over there? And we go, oh, we're just here to watch the hockey game. They're chirping us. And he goes, oh, I don't give a shit about hockey, boys. I got a horse in this race, and that's what I care about. I don't want them spooking my horse. So we go, that's cool. What number is your horse? So he goes, my horse is the number 7. We had all bet on horse number 7. Not by any plan. Just if you know me, I look at who has the funniest name and I bet on the name. I don't know anything about betting on horses, so that's how I do it. So I bet on horse number 7. He goes, boys, we're all in this one together. So that horse ends up winning the race. And instead of just being like, oh, that was great. Well, we had a bunch of high fives and we shook hands. We're like, oh, we're all making money. Let's go. He goes, boys, I want you with me in the winner's circle. So he took the 4 of us, me, Tyler, Jay, and Liam, into the winner's circle. And we got to take pictures with the owner of a horse and the horse. And I will tell you one thing. Nothing shuts up a bunch of heckling from a bunch of random dum-dums quite like seeing the guys you were heckling get invited to go stand in the winner's circle with the winning horse. Fucking awesome. Awesome. Now, the second thing that happened. We're leaving after that. And a bunch of, again, as I mentioned earlier, Texans are very, very friendly. They were very nice to us. So as we go down and we're leaving because it's time to leave for the game, a couple of different couples kind of show up and they go, boys, we're Stars fans. I hope that you're not offended. Hope you don't mind. And Jay's always really good at that stuff. He goes, no, it's just part of the thing. It's fine. Nothing crossed the line, so we were all good with it. And they go, oh, okay, great. Enjoy your stay in Dallas. That happened a couple of times. People would just come up and be like, well, we're not going to say good luck because we want the Stars to win, but you guys handled that like champs. I hope you're enjoying your stay, all that kind of stuff. As we're walking out, a third man, he kind of walks around and he goes, hey, boys. Saw what happened, saw you taking some heckling, just wanted to say hi, welcome to Dallas, all that kind of thing. Do you know who this man was? It was Lee Trevino's son, and I believe it was Richard Trevino. Do you remember Lee Trevino from The Simpsons? Let me see. I just want to confirm. Is this actually Richard Trevino, Rick Trevino? No, it was not him. Oh, it is Richard Trevino. Yeah, that was the guy we met, Richard Trevino. So Lee Trevino was a professional golfer. And if you're old enough to remember a Simpsons episode, Bart Simpson wanted this one game. It's called like Blood Stomp or some shit. I don't remember. It was back in the 90s. So he ends up stealing it. And the punchline of the whole episode is that his mom buys him the game he did not want, which was Lee Trevino putting. So when I think of the name Lee Trevino putting, or Lee Trevino, I think of that. So to meet his son outside of a horse race after we were just getting yelled at by Stars fans was absolutely hilarious. It was just so funny, and it couldn't have kind of tied the whole afternoon together any better. Won a couple of dollars betting on the ponies. First of all, that's always a win in itself. Again, I'm betting on names. I don't know what I'm doing. But if you have a funny name, I'll bet on you. And it worked. Then we got to meet the owner. And then all the dum-dums that were heckling us, they just kind of sat there watching. We were like, we never get invited into the owner's circle. Hilarious. And then to meet Lee Trevino's son, who also himself happened to be a professional golfer and racehorse owner. I felt like Ryan Nugent Hopkins' friends. Shout out to Infinite Patience and the R&H Stables. It was just fun. It was probably some of the most fun ever. And even though the Oilers lost game 2, it was annoying. Again, Stars fans were great. They go, oh, well, we think this is going to be a long series. Hope you enjoyed Dallas. Have a great time. Went out to a pub late that evening. Met some just really, really fun bartenders, and they were just also a blast. You know, they're so friendly down there that we were sitting at this bar after the game. We finally found the district we didn't know existed after game 2. And we're just like, okay, let's go in for a drink and we'll have a good time. We'll see what happens. So we wander into this bar and we sit down, and the bartender, she was just hilarious and funny. And what ended up us staying for one drink turned into us staying until the bar closed and being like, oh shit, we got to fly in the morning. So to the people of Dallas, you're never going to listen to this. I know that. But what a refreshing way to go to the playoff round after just experiencing Vancouver, where I'm still having Vancouver fans in my mentions complaining about Edmonton as if I care what their opinion is. It is night and day. So to you, Dallas Stars fans, I tip my cap.
Listen, I really thought something dangerous was going to happen down there. I was worried about you. You're not strapped up ever. By the way, did you see the open carries? Everybody knows Texas is an open carry state.
We did see some open carries. Yeah, it was a little bizarre.
Oh, tell Satan about it when they strapped up on both sides. Satan loves when they've got rounds and guns on both sides.
Yes. We walked into a 7-Eleven just to grab some snacks. It was right by the hotel. And as I walk in, I'm like, oh my God, that guy's fucking strapped up on both sides and he's got a bulletproof vest. And then you see a tiny security tag. I'm like, oh my God, this is security at 7-Eleven. And then I walk around to grab some chips and a Gatorade. And I look and there's a second guy, exact same outfit, realize he's another security guard. I'm like, am I in the world's fucking sketchiest 7-Eleven right now? What is going on? Open carry, man. It's crazy. The shitty Hooters we went to. Arguably, if I'm going to shit on Dallas once, it's going to be the Hooters we went to after game one. Worst wings I've ever had in my life. They were cold. They were not at all spicy. And they took forever. Also, to the people on Oilers Nation Radio, or not Oilers Nation Radio, Oilers Nation Every Day, when we were doing the show from our room in Dallas, that kept saying, why are you guys talking about strip clubs? Who thinks Hooters is a strip club? I'm pretty sure my dad took me there for my 13th birthday. Pretty sure. Might have been 14, 12, I don't know. Somewhere around there. I remember enjoying my time. Definitely not a strip club. Though, that one outside of the arena, American Airlines Arena in Dallas, don't go there. Never go there. If you're ever in Dallas for any reason ever, don't go there. Your experience is terrible. It's just like, first of all, everything took forever. 2, why were the wings so cold? I just ordered them. I guess maybe they were sitting on the counter for about 6 hours because that's how long it felt like it took. Anyway, I'm going to have more on the trip home and the righteous sack beating from our trip to Dallas. But we've got some business to attend to. And I just realized I didn't open my ads. So I'm going to play with the bumper as we get to the news.
Roar! Good afternoon. This is your donkey. I lost the link. And you can hear sparks in the background. Yes. By the way, good afternoon.
The news is brought to you by Star Mechanical. Star Mechanical is one of Edmonton's biggest locally owned and operated plumbing and heating businesses. They've been working within the community for over 20 years, and many of the homes built in Edmonton over the last 2 decades have had their plumbing and heating systems installed by Star Mechanical. Offer 24/7 emergency services. Visit them at starmechanical.ca. I'm telling you, Dallas could use Star Mechanical. That place is fucking hot. It was about 36 degrees and 2,000% humidity. I walked out of the hotel, which was a nicely air-conditioned building, and it just was like a punch to the face, and I'm just like, I'm sweaty! You know? Something like that.
Did you stink? You probably stink. Everybody knows you stink when you're not acclimatized to the humidity.
Shut up, Satan.
Were you stinky? I just started wearing deodorant myself. Now I smell like a man!
All right, little quads. Relax. Get into the news. The obvious place to start here is that the Oilers are down 2-1 in their series against Dallas, but the most frustrating part of the whole thing is that they shouldn't be. They should be up 2-1 because the start of Game 3 back at Rogers Place was electric. Now, as soon as I wrap this up and send off the audio to be chopped up into clips by Waz, I'm going to Rogers Place for Game 4. I'm expecting the barn to be electric again, but the boys can't waste that. They can't waste that. The second period, the Stars got 3 goals in under 4 minutes. Nothing drops a turd in the punch bowl like 3 goals in under 4 minutes. That's just the way it is. So, as a result, Chris Knobloch yesterday teased some new line combos, and it sounds like we're going to get them. Again, nothing is confirmed until closer to puck drop, but Vinny out, Foegele out, Carrick out. Vinny had a tough game in Game 1. He had a couple of decisions with the puck that probably didn't go his way. Foegele, I mean, he skates fast, but skates nowhere sometimes. And it's frustrating because contract year Foegele was so good in the regular season. Contract year Foegele didn't show up in the playoffs. Really bums me out. It really bums me out. And Sam Carrick is out. Also a little bit surprised about that one, given that he's one of the few guys actually winning draws right now. He's one of the few guys that's able to do something on the cycle. He's been physical. I'm surprised to see Sam Carrick out. And it's not just because the Carrick Bros sent us a bunch of syrup to the office and it's delicious. And it's not just because I have his mom's phone number. None of those things are affecting my opinion. I actually thought that the games that Sam Carrick was in, he was effective. He doesn't play a lot of minutes. He's on the 4th line, but I actually thought the 4th line played really well. So what do we get instead? Ryan McLeod back in. He had an absence in Game 3, replaced by Adam Henrique, who was back in for the first time since Game 2 against Vancouver. Henrique scored a big goal. McLeod spent a night in the press box. I'm looking for him to be better. Corey Perry into the lineup for the first time in a minute, playing his former team. Everybody scores against the Oilers when it's their former team. Can we not have one of those go our way for a change? Corey Perry, you're a legend, bro. You're going into the Hall of Fame. You've won everything there is to win in hockey. Why not do it one more time against your former team? Help turn this around. The biggest surprise to me almost is that Philip Broberg is going into the lineup. He hasn't played yet in the playoffs, and I'm curious about how it's going to go. I'm curious about how he's going to handle the pressure. I'm curious how he's going to handle a very, very intense Dallas forecheck. Now, of course, he's got better wheels than Vinny. He's a better puck mover than Vinny. Dallas isn't overly physical, so maybe this fits Broberg's style of game a little better. The one guy everybody was talking about, however, was Darnell Nurse. He struggled mightily in game 3, I should say. And it's been kind of a tough go for him for a while. I know that plus minus isn't the thing that everybody likes to talk about. I know that nobody talks about plus minus, but it's hard to ignore when you see a number like Darnell being minus 11 in his last 10 games. Now, some of that is very, very bad luck. I think Darnell Nurse is a very good hockey player. He's better than I ever could have been, ever could have dreamed of. He's richer than I'll ever be in my life. Makes a lot of money. But when you carry a price tag that big, people are on you when you play like shit. And the fact that he's bumped down to the second pairing, he's not on the power play, he doesn't get the first kind of assignments on the PK. We need him to be better at 5-on-5. We need him to tighten up the gap control. We need him to not be a Zamboni on the ice when Jason Robertson is coming down for the Stars' first shot of the third period that ended up being the game winner. Now, Stuart Skinner is starting game 4. I did not like the game winner, Jason Robertson. Has to stop that. There's no doubt. But it also would have been nice to get a little help. And Darnell Nurse was there on his knees right as that puck was going in. If you just angle off Jason Robertson, you're twice the size of him. That doesn't happen. The other thing that can't happen again is that the Oilers need to protect their blue lines. I say this all the time if you listen to Oilers Nation Radio, respect the blue lines, both of them. And on the first 3 goals, the Oilers could not get it out. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins was the first one. He was inches away. He just had to chip it out. And he just went, doink, doink. Couldn't get it over the line. And that caused the first goal against. Second one, same thing. Bad clearing attempt right to Jamie Benn. Back of the net. Third one. Again, chance to clear. Couldn't get it out. Stopped right at the blue line. In the back of the net after a scramble play in front of Stu. It was just chaos because the Oilers can't bear down on their zone exits. I'm hoping having Philip Broberg in the lineup is going to help satisfy some of that because he does move the puck better than Vincent Desharnais. There's no doubts about it with both his wheels and his passing. But coming in game 4 of the Western Conference Final is no joke. You know he's going to be nervous, and a big part of that is going to be stepping up to deal with those nerves. That goes same with Darnell Nurse. Frank Saravalli over at dailyfaceoff.com carved him up yesterday, and it was hard to ignore everything that he said. You know, like I said, I think Darnell Nurse is a really strong hockey player, but you can't ignore the fact that he makes a lot of money. The Oilers could do other things with that money, and if you're not going to play very effective minutes when you're out there, it becomes a challenge. Also, Darnell Nurse appears on Frank Saravalli's trade targets board this year. It's the first time we ever said that about Daryl. First time we've ever said that about Daryl. But like a good captain, Connor McDavid was asked about it before the game, and he just kind of, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't have the quote in front of me, he just kind of says, listen, he gives us everything he's got. We know that Darnell Nurse is going to lay it all on the line every time he's out on the ice. And that goes a long way in the room. You know, he was doing the exact thing you want your captain to do. And now it's up to Darnell Nurse to step up and do it. If you saw the video of him that Ryan Rishaug tweeted this morning, or even just go on TSN and listen to the post-skate interviews, Darnell Nurse is normally quite eloquent with his answers. He's normally quite thoughtful with his answers. But today he was just like, yes, no. What about, do you have confidence in Philip Broberg to step in and kind of play in this, intense environment? I'm paraphrasing the question. He goes, yes, 100%. What makes Broberg prepared in your mind to come in and compete in this position? He goes, he's a very good hockey player, smart hockey player. That's not Darnell Nurse. If you're going to be pissed off, buddy, I hope you're pissed off on the ice, man. I hope you play a little bit pissed off because you've been taking a lot of shrapnel here. I believe in you, Daryl. I believe in simple Daryl. Now you need to believe in yourself, pal. We need to see the guy that landed that big ticket. That we need to see the guy that was in that all-Canadian division lighting things up. That was the reason you got paid that smoke. Let's see it. Changing gears a little bit. After game 2 when the Stars won, the DJ played La Bamba. in the American Airlines Arena. And I got to admit, I was surprised, very, very surprised to see how annoyed some people were about that. To me, it was just kind of like, oh, they must know it's our win song. Here's a troll that the Oilers just lost. Lols. DJs do that kind of stuff. I've been very, very fortunate in my time at Oilers Nation to go to a bunch of different arenas and watch games. That's kind of what they do. If you got an opportunity to troll the other team with the in-house entertainment, you do it. I posted a video on Instagram of the Oilers kind of production team making fun of Canucks fans for being on their phones during a stoppage in play. That thing on Instagram alone has probably 700,000 views. That's what they do. So I got to admit, I was a little bit surprised where people were taking it to a point where there's no way that the DJ in Dallas has any concept of who Joey Moss was or who Ben Stelter was at all. So I was a little bit surprised it went there. But again, going back to my original point that kicked off this podcast, people of Dallas are very, very nice. They just took it as an opportunity to make a donation to the Ben Stelter Foundation. And as of today, over $20,000 has been raised for the Ben Stelter Foundation. Amazing. That's what it's all about. That's why I liked the people in Dallas. That's why, as much as it was annoyed to watch them lose game 2, nobody chirped us on the way out. We had some fun conversations. We got to make fun of their play AI offs thing with Dallas fans. It was kind of fun, if I'm being honest. So good on the people of Dallas for doing that. Just lastly, to wrap up the news, we are looking at the other series. Panthers tied it up 2-2 last night. We need the Oilers to do the same thing. But the only reason that series is 2-2 is because of Igor Shesterkin in the net for New York. New York's played like shit 3 games in a row, and yet 3 games in a row, they've gone to overtime. Last night, the Panthers were able to squeak it out. Man, I could only dream of having goaltending like that. I could only dream. But it's no offense to Stu. I believe in you, Stu. It's just sometimes you see a performance like what Shesterkin has done for the Rangers and you go, fuck me. Could you imagine where we'd be if we had that? Anyway, that's where we're going to wrap up the news. StarMechanical.ca. Their team of tradespeople are highly skilled and are accommodating for their customers. They offer 24/7 emergency services. Visit StarMechanical.ca. Schedule an appointment and let them help you keep your home running smoothly.
You are listening to Better Late Than Never, so that means, I don't know, you press play at some point. But anyway, like and subscribe, tell your friends. If you don't think your friends are going to be interested, tell them fucking twice.
I love you, Dukes, man. Thank you. The betting segment is brought to you by our friends at Bet365, proud partner of Better Late Than Never. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. So whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it is never ordinary at Bet365. Use the promo code OILYBONUS. Oily Bonus is the promo code, and I'm looking at a couple of futures on on Bet365 and also a couple of bets here just for tonight ahead of game 4. Oilers plus 115 on the money line tonight. They are dogs on the money line. That means that you get more than your money back that you put in. If you put $10 in, you're probably going to get $12 back, something like that. I'm bad at math, but that's the way it works. Got it? The futures bet that I'm looking at is the Oilers are plus 210 to win the series, and it's only they're only losing 2-1. I actually think there's some value there, mostly because I'm a homer, and secondly, because I actually believe in this team to get the job done. It's not that Dallas is outplaying them so handily that they're down 2-1. They just keep making mistakes at the costly points of the game and not being able to dig themselves out of it. Tonight, I'm expecting a much better effort from start to finish from the Oilers, but plus 210 to win the series when they're only down a single game? For real? What? I think there's some value there. But it's also interesting, the next futures bet that I wanted to look at, again, promo code OILYBONUS at Bet365. The next series is series total game. Over 5.5 is minus 360. Minus 360 are odds that I would never consider betting ever. So essentially what I'm saying is this series was going to go at least to 5 games with the split in Dallas. At least. So betting markets believe that this thing is going to run long, going 6 games plus. So minus 360, what that basically means is that everybody putting money on this series thinks this thing is going to go at least 6 or 7 games, and I'm right there with them. If you look at the whiteboard at Nation HQ, I have Oilers in 7. Oilers in 7. And that doesn't happen just because, the team is bad or that either team is going to dominate. This isn't the Western Conference Final from 2 years ago, friends. Not at all. The Oilers are a better hockey team this time, and the bettors are kind of believing that as well. So whether or not they win, our friends at Bet365 are telling me that the bettors, where people are putting their money, they believe in the Edmonton Oilers, and I'm just kind of happy about it. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. So whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it is never ordinary at Bet365. Use the promo code OILYBONUS.
So, you like this podcast? Better late than never with Bad Milk. Why don't you go to your favorite podcast app? Like, subscribe, share, leave a review. You sexy human.
You want to see a man, boy? I'll show you a man. Kick me in the jimmy.
Trilogy Oilfield Rentals present the Righteous Act Beating. Of course, they are an established provider of tools and expertise across multiple oilfield disciplines, specializing in rentals, pipe recovery, fishing, pipe recovery, abandonments, and completions. Currently, they maintain full-time operating units in Provost, Weyburn, and Kindersley. When we're asking what kind of tools, I like to push this button over here, and I tell you, rental tools, fishing tools, coil tools, drilling tools, mills and bits, completion tools, any tools for any job. TrilogyRentals.ca. What bothers me today? Well, I'm going back to our trip from Dallas, and not when we were in Dallas, but rather on the trip home, specifically the one instance in Nashville. So essentially what our flight was is we went from Dallas. There's no direct flight, by the way, from Dallas to Edmonton. There's just not. So you have to either go Dallas to a city kind of somewhere closer or Dallas to Calgary. Like Banjo Guy, as an example, he went Dallas to Calgary and he drove home. We didn't want to drive home after the weekend. We wanted to get back to Edmonton. Right. So what we found was a flight that went Dallas, a quick little flight over to Nashville. We had a couple hours in Nashville and a direct flight home. That was the plan. Weather came in and there's nothing you can do about that. As we're sitting there at the airport in Nashville, kind of probably 90 minutes out from our flight, we see the clouds rolling in. I look at my phone and I see that there's a tornado watch. Well, didn't seem like a great thing to have happen. Tornado watch, that is, especially when you're flying. I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you've seen the movie Twister starring Helen Hunt. Can't fly through those, I don't think. Picks up cows and shit, Dodge Ram had to drive through a house. Anyway, so we get a 2-hour weather delay. And that's fine because we're just, okay, fine. 2-hour weather delay, whatever. It is what it is. We looked at the radar. By then, the storm is going to be gone. Unfortunately, what that meant is also that our plane got rerouted to Atlanta. Atlanta, at that same time, also started having some weather. So that flight was canceled. Now, that's not the part that annoys me. That's not the part that annoys me at all. What annoys me was what happened after the flight got canceled. The airline carrier, they rescheduled our flight for the next day. 1 p.m. in Nashville, direct flight home. And we go, okay, no problem. We leave at 1 p.m. We land in Edmonton probably around 5 o'clock. Plenty of time to get home for the game. No problem. In fact, we were talking about, we're in Nashville. What should we do for tonight? Should we go to Topgolf? Should we go to just hit up Broadmoor? Is that it? I'd never been to Nashville, so I was kind of excited about it, actually. Of all places to get stuck, doing a night in Nashville was not that bad. Now, here's where I got annoyed. Here's what drove me up the wall. Right after we see that our flight is going direct to Edmonton from Nashville at 1 p.m., I go to check into the flight, and before I'm even done checking into the flight, it goes, bing, flight delayed 5 hours. You don't depart until 6 p.m. now, and we wouldn't have gotten home until probably 9. So I'm just trying to figure out, okay, I'll watch the game on the plane, no problem. We'll figure this out. We started looking for other options. We found a different flight that we could get that would land us home earlier. It was a little bit of a milk run. There's no, actually, it was a very, very much a milk run. But the point was that it got us home like 5 o'clock, 5:20, somewhere in there. So we decided to be, as a unit, all hands in the middle. Let's take the milk run. Let's get home. Some people had tickets to the game potentially. Some people had just plans. Liam's looking for a house. So he and his missus had planned to go look at houses. They planned to do viewings. So getting home before the game or in the late afternoon was ideal. So we, hands in the middle, let's do the milk run. We're all in this together. We're getting home. We'll still go have a little night in Nashville. Maybe we'll go grab something to eat somewhere, call it a night early, whatever. The thing that really was upsetting, though, is that we waited at the carousel that we got sent to once our flight was canceled for 3 hours. We sat there for 3 hours, and there was not one person in the airport that could give us an idea of when the bags were coming out or even if they were coming out. Now, think back to what I said. The plane we were supposed to get on was in Atlanta, so it's not like our bags were on a plane. They were just on a cart somewhere. But what was happening was the airport was prioritizing flights that were actually having them go out and just leaving those bags sitting there. So everybody, there was a plane full of people. I was looking at them all that were waiting at the baggage carousel we were told to stay at to wait for our bags, could not get any answer of where our bags were or when they were coming out or even if they were coming out. What happens if I leave the airport? One lady asked. I have to go eat. I have to go live. Like, I don't want to stand here at the airport. Just tell me if they're coming out. If they're coming out, I'll wait. If they're not, I want to go live my life. Couldn't get an answer. Nobody would give an answer. Nobody was even making calls. People at the desk were not very helpful. So we waited and we waited and we waited and we watched people trying to get different flights home. Some people had tickets to game 3, so they couldn't be on that flight that was going to get them in at like 9 or 9:30, whatever it was. They couldn't get there. Obviously, you spent a bunch of money on tickets to the playoffs. You don't want to go there that late. I'm getting angrier by the minute. Nobody's answering. And then eventually they say, bags aren't coming out. They will be held for you. Leave, come back tomorrow. Well, for us, we had changed our flights, so we couldn't come back in the morning to figure out where our bags were. We couldn't come back in the morning to find them because our flight was at 5 a.m. So what we did is we went back to a much more helpful person. That they are not part of this righteous sack beating. And they go, we're going to call a supervisor for you. Just sit tight. You've been very patient. This is very annoying. Just sit tight. They say, okay, the bags are coming to the carousel within the next 15 to 20 minutes. We go back to the carousel. We're like, hey, everybody that's still around that hasn't left, 15 to 20 minutes, the bags are going to start popping out. So everybody goes, oh, thank God. 15 to 20 minutes later, our bags start coming out. Everybody around the carousel. They're cheering. They're excited. 4 bags came out. 4 bags from that flight to Edmonton came out, and then they stopped. Because once again, current flights were prioritized over that cart of bags, so it was pushed aside for another hour. For 1 other hour, we sat there. And the people that took their bags, the 4 that actually got their bags out, they were like, they felt almost like survivor's guilt or something like that their bags came out while the rest of us still had to wait. More people left. They go, we'll deal with it in the morning. More people left. We'll deal with it in the morning. We, however, had to sit there and wait for our bags. Tyler wanders down to the same very nice lady that helped us and they go, only 4 bags came out. Can you help? She did. Calls again. Go back up. They're going to be there. We promise. Out comes all of the bags. All of them. Meanwhile, 3/4 of the people that were on that flight had left already, thinking that those bags were going to be put into like a case or something, and they were going to go get them in the morning. We said, what about all the bags that are spinning for the people that left? Those are going to be either locked up or removed because you can't just leave unattended bags in the airport. What? I know that people at the airport have a tough job. And this is one of those first world problems that it even feels weird to complain about. But had there just been any communication or willing to communicate like the one nice lady that Tyler found, a lot of the anger that was brewing outside of that Carousel 7 in Nashville could have been avoided. So to all of you that were working in Nashville on that night and communicating with no one about what was happening, you get the righteous act beating.
You want to see a man, boy? I'll show you a man. Kick me in the jimmy.
Stay tuned for part 2. We're going to get into the voicemails, all of your voicemails tomorrow in part 2. That's the wrong button, dum-dum. I'm off to the game.
Your ears are sexy. Even bag milk thinks isn't true. His donkey singing. Welcome to Better Late Than Never.